Hey guys, what's going on? Let's talk about communications real quick. Part of being properly prepared and everything is having the ability to communicate with other people. Especially if you've got a preparedness group or friends, neighbors, etc. The ability to communicate is going to be key if something ever goes bad. Now, if it's something like a grid up scenario, you want to be able to get information. If information is not regularly coming in on the regular AM, FM radio or television, or maybe the information is not reliable, then having an alternate way of getting info could be really important. One of those ways is via ham radio. Up to recently, ham radio could be a bit expensive to get into because of the cost of the radios and all that. But recently that's kind of changed a little bit. Now you've got things like this little Baophone radio that is fully ham capable radio, but at a really low price. There's all kind of different antenna configurations and stuff you can get for this radio, etc. And one reason it's good to have something like this is that you don't need a license to listen to it. So you can listen and gather information without any concerns whatsoever. Now obviously if you want to transmit on it and talk to somebody, being ham, you've got to have a license. This radio is kind of cool because it also does GMRS, FRS frequencies and all that. Now, to talk on FRS channels, you don't need a license. However, and don't quote me on this, this is just, I'm passing this on as what's been told to me. You cannot transmit on FRS channels with this radio because it's a ham capable radio. You got to have at least your tech license to use the radio regardless of what channel or frequency you're transmitting on. So don't quote me on that. That's just what I've been told and as I understand it. But still, the ability to listen could be key. Now obviously if a day or time or situation ever came where laws and rules and stuff no longer applied and the FCC didn't exist or whatever, then obviously you could use this to talk however you wanted to. So for the money, you can pick these up on eBay brand new for $25, $35, somewhere in that ballpark. It's just kind of a no-brainer to at least have one to listen if for no other reason. The ability to be able to use it down the road obviously is good. Now, for other considerations, not so much informational gathering, but just person to person. Let's say that you've got your preparedness group or NPT, neighborhood protection team, that sort of thing. And you're going to be conducting security patrols around your property, your homestead, neighborhood, whatever. You need to be able to communicate. You need to have a base of operations. You're going to need to have other people there on backup. Your NPT is going to need to be able to communicate amongst itself, etc. There's a lot of discussion online, videos and stuff, about what kind of radios to get and what to use. A lot of guys really frown on and dismiss and discard little things like just your regular little El Cheapo FRS, GMRS radios. I want to propose to you to not discount these. And here's why. If you're in a really bad grid down scenario, you've had to go to your bug out location, your retreat, whatever, your preparedness group, your neighborhood protection team, whatever. You're having to actually do it for real. Things have gotten that bad. You're probably not going to have the ability to use repeaters and stuff to communicate for ham purposes and that sort of thing. But if you're doing security patrols on foot, you need to be mindful that if you're on foot, you're probably going to be doing it in an NPT fashion. You're probably talking a 2 to 6 man team at the most, realistically. If you're on foot and you get into trouble, ideally you're going to want to have a couple of people, at least 2, preferably 4, on standby as a QRF, or what's called a quick reaction force. That's so if your patrol gets into trouble, gets in a fight or whatever, and needs help, they'll call for the QRF on the radio. QRF loads up and goes and helps. If you're having a patrol on foot, and things are that bad, you don't have vehicles, think about the amount of time it's going to take for your help to get to you if they've got to cover all that on foot too. You've probably walked that distance. If you're in trouble and they're trying to get to you, they're going to be running that distance. Or they may have to walk it too, depending on how far away you are. They've still got to be able to be effective when they get there. If you're a couple of miles away on foot, that's a long way to be away from your base of operations, your neighborhood, home, whatever. A lot can happen in the time it's going to take help to get there on foot to you. The reason I'm saying all that is people dismiss the FRS and GMRS radios because of their lack of range, lack of distance. Realistically, you usually only get a couple of miles out of them, contrary to the 5 mile advertised distance. The 5 mile advertised distance is one of those things of, on a perfect day, in a perfect world, in a perfect situation, the ionosphere is in perfect condition, yada yada yada, you might be able to get 5 miles out of it. Realistically, it's probably more like a mile or 2 at best. But here's the thing, that mile or 2 short distance you can use like a leash. That keeps your patrol or whatever from getting too far away from you, so that they don't get out further than what help can get to them if they got into trouble. Secondly, you have to remember, the further out you transmit, the further away someone can be and still be listening to you. The shorter distance you're transmitting, the closer they have to be. Well, if you're doing proper security patrols around your neighborhood, retreat, whatever, the closer they are to you, the better chance you stand of finding out about them, the better chance they stand of getting caught. So that distance and lack thereof can work both ways. Keeps you from getting too far out on foot, but it also makes anybody that wants to listen to you have to come closer to you, and thus dramatically increase their chances of being detected. Now yes, this isn't encrypted. If you're worried about encrypted communications and stuff and somebody listening to you in that regards, there's not really much of anything that I'm aware of on the open purchase market that you can get that is not going to be able to be listened by somebody with equal or better equipment. So if you're worried about the average group of looters listening to what you're saying, they may have FRS radios too, but again, they're going to have to be close enough to pick up your signal and listen to you, to run the risk of getting caught. And a simple way around that is just to use your own, make up your own brevity codes, so that it makes it hard for them to figure out what you're talking about when you're communicating back and forth. It's not overly difficult. So I'm not going to drag this out and bore you. I just wanted to give you some thought. These are a couple of good things to have. As the FRS radios are not expensive. If you look for the ones that run off of AA or AAA batteries, then you can take this, if I can get it open here. This has got a rechargeable battery pack in it, but you can also replace it with 3 AA batteries. So any of them that use AA or AAA batteries, if you get you a bunch of rechargeable batteries and a couple of roll-up solar mats and a charging lead for it, you can constantly have batteries charged up, and you can keep these going indefinitely. This one has got its own battery pack right here, but again, you can use the charging stand that comes for it and wire it into a roll-up solar mat, and you can keep this charged indefinitely as long as the batteries will last. So for the money and the price, I think having both of these in your preps, in your plans, is probably a really good idea. Being able to listen and gather information with the future ability to be able to talk on it if you needed to. And it's easy to get a tech license right now too. Getting a tech cam license is not hard, and then you can actually talk on it without any worries. For shorter range stuff, patrol work, whatever, it's small, it's lightweight, you can get earbuds and stuff for it. Don't cost a lot of money. You can outfit easily 6-12 guys with these, even if you only had a couple of them and just had one per team. If you had a couple of 2 or 4 man teams, again, easy to do. Get the book that I talked about before in the other video, Failure Civility. They got some good communication tips and stuff in there that will go along with setting up that MPT and everything and how it can work. So don't always look at the lack of range on these as being a negative. That can really be used to your advantage if you take it from the right approach. So anyway, that's all for now, guys. Just wanted to throw that out there. Take care, and we'll talk to you next time.